This one is fresh off the press. That doesn't make any sense, the way that I'm doing these. Okay, so this one I just literally just watched the episode and it aired live, so we're getting it done pretty early because I don't know. I have to go to work tomorrow, but there's no kids really, so there's not, what else am I gonna do? So who needs sleep? So I just watched this episode, and I have a lot of thoughts. And the weird thing is that well, it's not weird. It's because this season is so rife and tense with kind of racial uh, issues. There's got to be a better word than that. God, the quality of this camera is really bad. Racial issues that I don't think it really leaves too much time for me to look at the show anthropologically with a queer perspective. Even though there was a comment in this episode that really riled me up in that thing, but it's like I'm watching this, and it's so weird because it's the first Black Bachelorette, and she has some good guys on the show, right? Like at least good by Bachelorette standards, and I find it so frustrating that they put Lee on the show. I don't understand how this happened. I mean, I understand how it happened because they knew that he would be good TV. But for the producers to ever, if they ever do, say officially, like that they didn't, I think they actually may have, that they didn't know about his tweets that were super homophobic and super racist and super pro Trump and all of that stuff, then they're completely and totally lying. And they picked him because they knew that he would be a foil. And what's disgusting is not only that they would do that and put him on the first season of a Black Bachelorette, and put him in the presence of black men, because God forbid that those men don't have the right to feel safe, right? Like, in that they're surrounded by people who actually do have their best interests at heart and don't just hate them for this really stupid, arbitrary reason if their skin color happens to be dark. It's disgusting that they've allowed that to happen, but then they give him a platform in order to, he's not using the N word, right? Like, Lee is not coming out right and using the N word against these men. Um, but he's doing it, he's saying it in the subtext. And the fact that this show has given him a platform is so disgusting that it's like, how do you even watch it? And what's really upsetting is that I don't know if Rachel feels compelled to keep him around because the producers have asked her to. I know that there's some kind of a thing that happens sometimes where they'll keep around contestants because those contestants are good for TV. It's kind of like JoJo keeping Chad around for as long as she did. Like, obviously he was not someone she was going to end up with, but she clearly kept him around because it would be good TV. Same with Nick and Corinne. But that it works against her own interests in order for her to do so in this case, so much to the point that I really truly don't understand what's going on in her mind. And when Lise took her aside tonight to talk about, well, I think she asked him about it, but still, like, when she asked him about the confrontation with Kenny, for Lee to say, he used such pointed language that he, like, to talk about Kenny being like super aggressive towards him, and he just used like language that wasn't even veiled, like that was very directly him subtextually calling Kenny a thug or the N-word. And what was disturbing to me about that, aside from the fact that he was given a platform which to do that, and that many people who are watching The Bachelorette, although ratings are down because white women suck, is that Rachel didn't call him out on his BS. And I'm sitting here as a white girl thinking he's using this veiled language to prey on our fears about black men being aggressive. And he's playing into the history that is behind all of that. And Rachel doesn't call him out at all. In fact, when she talks to Kenny, she talks to him about that and doesn't even seem to really give him the benefit of the doubt. There's no, like, she does say, like, what was being described doesn't sound to me like the Kenny that I know. But she doesn't call Lee out on his bullshit, which is disappointing because she called DeMario out on his bullshit. She clearly can do that. She's clearly very strong, very opinionated. She's so smart. So it's not that I don't think she knows what Lee is doing. I just don't understand what is holding her back from kicking him off. And I understand next week there's going to be a 2-on-1 date with Kenny and Lee, and maybe the producers were like, please keep him around so we can do this. I don't know. But it's disgusting. It's disgusting to keep a man in the house who so clearly is racist. The black men in the house, and Iggy, I don't know what race he is, but he's not white. Even Brian, who is, I think, at least half Latino. The fact that they should have to live in a house with this guy who so clearly is racist, I think is, like, appalling that the show would ever put them in the position. Like, these genuinely good guys. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I hate it. And on top of that, Lee, like, after instigating shit with Kenny, just like he did last week with Eric, by basically goading them to the point where they actually say something, and then when they say something, basically turn it around so that they look like they are quote-unquote aggressive, and then he just loves them. I'm just gonna smile to make you mad. What a disgusting piece of shit he is. Is that he said that Kenny was butthurt. And if I can get rid of any stupid as fuck, homophobic as shit, I don't even know, is it an insult? I don't even know what butthurt counts as. Adjective in general, I would get rid of that one. It's so blatantly homophobic. Like, fuck you. Like, fuck you for your racism, and fuck you for your homophobia, and fuck you for your Hitler haircut. So he's awful. And I really hope that with the way he's been acting on the show, and with the revelation of what his social media presence was before he was even cast, and they still cast him because these producers are shit, instigating shit pieces. I really hope that it comes back to bite him on the ass. And I hope that Kenny, that Eric, that any of the guys in the house who had to deal with his fucking bullshit, like, get the last laugh. What's really also upsetting is that there's several white guys who see what Lee is doing and have said in the confessional aspects of the show, like, we see what he is doing. Dean, in particular, I think explicitly, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe he didn't say racism, but he very clearly was like, we know what this is. The fact that none of the white guys have said directly to Lee, you are a fucking piece of shit who is a racist, is ridiculous. Because here's the thing, Eric doesn't need to have that conversation with Lee. Kenny doesn't need to have that conversation with Lee. I feel like we saw last week in a preview that Anthony was going to talk to Lee, and I thought that was going to happen this episode, but it didn't, so it might happen next week, or they edit it, I don't know, about, like, the history of painting black men as aggressive in this country, and its, historical, institutionalized, racist, implications and all that. It's not up to him, it's not up to Will, it's not up to Josiah, it's not up to them. It's up to the white guys, it's up to Dean, it's up to that white guy with the gap tooth whose name I don't know, but she really likes and I don't get why. It's up to that guy with the puppet who has a weird face. It's up to that guy who I've never seen before, whose name is Adam, who showed up, and both times I saw him tonight, I was like, who are you? It's up to them. You see it happening. Say something. Just say something. You see it. If a white person sees it, let's be real, like, it's happening because white people are so fucking myopic, right? I'm really disappointed right now at the fact that at Rachel's response to Lee, and so I feel like she's been knocked down from my pedestal. And maybe I don't know, we'll see. I just have to believe that in some ways that it's about the 2-on-1 date and ratings. I don't know. She broke down this tonight's episode because she clearly understands the implications of being the first black bachelorette, and she knows she's going to be judged no matter what. I'm sure it's on her mind all the time. If she picks a white guy, for example, over a black guy, like, what are black people going to say about her? If she picks a black guy over a white guy, la la la, like, everyone is going to have something to say no matter which route she goes, who she picks, how she, comports, is that the word, herself on the show. And that's got to be super, super stressful because, as always, we take one minority person and then we, extrapolate to say they must represent the entire race or sexuality or gender or whatever. And it's a lot of pressure. So I'm trying not to judge her too harshly, particularly since she is a black woman. And so, I don't feel like I can be outraged that she did something that I feel like should insult her as a black woman. So I don't know. I have so many mixed feelings. I feel like this season of The Bachelorette is going to be just a tough one. I think she's so great, but I don't get what she's doing with Lee. I don't. And I didn't like they had a spelling bee, and I didn't like that because they were basically comparing the ability to spell to intelligence. And I'm not going to brag, I'm a pretty good speller, and I am pretty smart, so maybe there's a correlation, but, there's not really. I know lots of smart people who can't spell worth shit. So I don't think that was a very accurate telling of, intelligence. So I just have a lot of feelings about this episode, and, next week there's going to be 2 episodes. Shit. So we'll see how that goes, and I need to end this now because I think it's just really weird because The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is not where I go to for, actual real societal, issues playing out on my screen in front of me. I feel like, I go to real shows for that, and, I sort of take this tact of analyzing it through a queer lens as, sort of a joke because it's so heteronormative that it's disgusting. Right? But, now I kind of, it's right there in front of us, and it's, forcing us to deal with it, even in our trash TV. And I think it's important because I think it means that the people who are watching, honestly, I think the ratings demonstrate that more black women than ever are watching, and that fewer white women than ever are watching. So the demographic that really actually needs to be grappling with this on their trash TV is not here. Not really going to be exposed to it, which is a shame, but again, white women suck. I don't know. It's just it's gonna be really rough. And I think as soon as she gets rid of the flim flam, as soon as she gets rid of Lee especially, then I think we can kind of let our guards down a little bit and just kind of go forward because she has to get rid of Iggy too. Iggy's such a drama king. But he might be he could be racist. It's not non-white people can't be racist. Then I think maybe it'll kind of be more smooth sailing from there, and it'll just be sort of regular Bachelorette drama, but she has to get rid of, it's kind of like with JoJo's season, she had to get rid of Chad, because that was a for real domestic abuser, he's somebody who is going to hit someone one day, roid raging, right? And so it was very uncomfortable having him around the house. Lee needs to be out, no one is safe with him around, they just aren't, and it's not he's going to shiv anybody, but I think that the mental and emotional toll that someone like that can take on you, it's microaggressive, right? Kenny and Eric both are did he just, and people of color, and I think, women when dealing with men, and queer people when dealing with straight people, you always hear wait, did I imagine that or not? And it's this mental fatigue and emotional fatigue that comes along with it. Those men don't deserve that. And I'm saying this as someone who hates men. They don't deserve it. So get him out of the house. Please, Rachel. Please get him out of the house so that we can all go back to just our regular trash-loving TV, and I can put you back up on my pedestal and just admire how pretty you are. And I guess we'll see you next week for the 2-parter.